What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be going over Paige Halstead's on-ramp, so the first month of her training. Now, if you don't know who the heck Paige Halstead is or why this whole thing is cool, go ahead, click this video. I sat down with her to go over the whole thing, who she is, what we're doing, and how we're going to go about it. Also, you can follow along on Instagram or Twitter. Here's both of our Instagrams and Twitters. So for Paige, it was really interesting because she hasn't really thrown baseballs for velocity before, so we're not really sure where to start from. In riding an on-ramp, usually what I'm looking for is where are we starting, where are we going, in terms of like velocity and how and volume, and then how long is it going to take for us to get there is generally the question I'm trying to answer. So for her, I really had no idea where we're starting or where we're going to end up. So my strategy around this was I was at her first session throwing, and I just wanted to see what did it look like at like 70% intensity. What did the velocity come out at? So I'm looking for movement quality. I'm looking for what's her actual intensity. I'm looking for all those things to try and like basically take a good guess at whatever her max intensity throwing velocity would be. So the first day that she did like 70% intensity pull downs, she pulled down like 75 miles an hour. So I kind of made the bet that she would be somewhere around 82, maybe high 70s, low 80s, somewhere in there when she pulled down as hard as she could. So now we've got our starting point, which is 75, and we've got our ending point, which is somewhere in the low 80s. And I wanted to do that over a period of like 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks, somewhere in there. I don't want to rush it because there's really no purpose. You can run into a lot of problems, a lot of tendonitis, especially when you try and rush an on-ramp, but we have nothing to get ready for. Like this, there's no end date to this. So I basically don't really care if we have to take a little bit longer than normal. It's totally fine. So what I went ahead and did was wrote out a throwing plan. We're throwing 6 days a week. She's got 3 like main throwing days, 3 recovery throwing days, and then 1 off day. So for the main throwing days, there's kind of 2 different categories. First category is on Monday and Friday, and then the second category is on Wednesday. So the ones on Monday and Friday, those are the ones that I'm looking to on-ramp her with. So if she feels good, what we're gonna do is just add 1 mile an hour to whatever she was previously. If she doesn't feel good, then we'll just kind of take the day as it goes. Maybe we stay where we are, maybe we go less intensity, just kind of depends what she's dealing with. So at the Wednesday day, basically she'll be doing a full pull down, but it'll only be like in the low 70s. The reason for this is I wanted to keep throwing and build that volume, actually do the movement of the pull down, but we can't like send it all the time, otherwise she'll run into problems. So that should get us, there's kind of a variable date on this. Like I said before, it could be 4 weeks till she's at max intensity, could be 8, it could be longer, who knows? Depends on what we run into during it, but I like to leave it a little bit flexible because I'm not 100% sure how this is gonna go. But what I do know is we're starting at 75, and we're gonna end up probably somewhere in the low 80s, and we're just gonna go 1 mile an hour at a time. Every day that she feels good, we'll just add 1 mile an hour to it. So on the lifting side, she actually has a great base of athleticism, but I think some added general strength, like I mentioned in that first video, could really benefit her. So we're just going really basic. We're gonna keep all the lifts, compound lifts, and we're just gonna progress them because right now she hasn't been lifting. So we're basically, I know where I wanna go, which is just ripping high intensity compound lifts. And I know where we're at, which is kind of starting from haven't been doing anything. So again, this is gonna take probably 4 to 6, maybe 8 weeks, build this progression over time. And I've kind of built in a little bit of flexing, like maybe it takes her a little bit longer than I think, but it's totally fine. Again, we have no end date. There's nothing that we're 100% rushing to get ready for. So we'll take the time as we need it, as her body needs it, which we're really not gonna know until we see how she goes through it. So her lifts are going to be split up. Basically, on those Mondays and Fridays, she's going to have a lower lift. And then on the recovery day after those 2, she's going to have an upper lift. And on the lower lift, basically, we're going to have some sprints, we're going to have some jumps, we're going to have some power cleans, have some squats, and some dedicated hamstring work. It's really, really basic. But how we'll progress that, we'll start at like a middle intensity, and every week we'll add on a little bit of intensity. So I generally just write on there like starting at 6 RPE for the first week, then we'll go 7 RPE, 8 RPE, 9 RPE, and then finally 10 RPE, just kind of building up from there. But again, this whole thing is flexible. Like if she comes in and she doesn't feel great and it's supposed to be 8 RPE, like we're just not going to push it. You know, we have so much time. We can do whatever we want here. So if her body needs time, we'll take it. Now, same thing on the upper side. We're just building with some general compound lifts. So we've got a bench press, we've got a lat push down, we've got some overhead walks, kind of like a farmer's carry, just overhead. And then we've got some single arm dumbbell rows. And again, all we're doing here, we're just starting at a middle intensity, and every week adding intensity onto that. And again, if she needs time, we'll give it to her. You know, there's no timetable, nothing we need to push for. If her body needs a little bit of time, we'll give it that. Awesome. So that's the specifics on this program. Super basic. We're just going into, basically, we're on-ramping her into high-intensity stuff. And once we on-ramp her, then we can start to play around with programming and things like that. But we got to take her from where she is right now, which is basically doing not very much, to where she's going to be, which is going to be high-intensity training pretty often during the week, which is really stressful. If you don't on-ramp to that, you can run into some big problems. So any comments, questions, anything like that, drop them below, and I'll get to them. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.